So I want to go over some trends and especially this report that we have produced about the changing dynamics and the landscape for e-commerce marketing in 2025. So here's what's happening. Hold on one second. It's still uploading. So I would imagine that we're still live, but let's continue. We can't pause. Okay. So typically there are a number of different issues plaguing DTC brands, and some of them are critical to be addressed as far as 2025 is concerned. So overall, the market is good. Overall, there is projected growth. It may not be as fast and as much as expected over the course of last few years, but it still is a growth oriented market. Now, with that being said, an important thing that we have seen that is changing considerably is a shift in consumer spending. So while the market is growing, the consumer behavior is now getting influenced with the economic pressures. There is tariffs because of which the brands are passing along the cost to the consumers, and rising influence and rising popularity of apps like Temu and Shein are changing consumer behavior, especially after this tariff introduction, which led to so many Chinese manufacturers typically announcing we are going direct to market. And while they may not all be legitimate, consumers' behavior is still changing. So once you've seen Taobao becoming the fifth largest app downloaded in the United States, you can imagine people are moving towards buying from the manufacturer directly in China. As it is, almost 50 to 60% of products that are being sold, especially let's take an example of technology products like charging cables, batteries, etc. The Chinese brands, manufacturers that have set up their branded stores on Amazon, and therefore people are still buying from Amazon. I was speaking with someone earlier this morning, and they said we are buying from Temu for $2, what is generally available on Amazon for $10. Now, Amazon has launched Hall to compete against it. Uh, in the UK, where I am, it still doesn't exist in a way. But with that being said, the overall sentiment is that the customers are trading down. They're switching to more affordable brands and they're seeking out private labels or purchasing new products from the likes of Temu's and Sheins of the world. They are obviously looking for better deals. Decisions are being driven more by budgets and less by their just the desires in order to want that product. So this particular element, which is budget, has a negative effect on the brand perception. It basically weakens the traditional brand loyalty, and price becomes the primary driver. Uh, Another network effect, another sort of effect on this is reduction of average order values. Basket size and the number of times a customer buys, the AOV and the LTV is going down. So while the spending on durable goods is expected to remain relatively strong, there is going to be a little bit of decline in some of the other categories. Now, with that being said, the growth that's there is not automatic. It's not keep spending more on Facebook ads and you will get the growth. So the pressure from low cost entrants like this underscores the need for strategic differentiation that you as a brand has to take care of. So I mean, let me know when you want this report, and I'll give you a link to download this. But typically, here are 8 pillars that we've identified in this report that are crucial for all DTC brands to look at. I'm briefly going to touch upon these today, but then over the next few days, we are going to talk about these individual pillars one by one. So those 8 pillars are: one, AI native commerce integration. Uh, Anything and everything that you can use AI for should be adopted, should be changed into AI native approach. So things like chatbots, things like creating product descriptions, marketing copy, email content, even complex tasks like demand forecasting and inventory management can be outsourced to an AI agent. Site search, product recommendation engines, those are the things that improve buyer experience and should be definitely handed over to an AI agent. So brands that adopt this practice have seen average revenue increases of 10 to 12%. So this is still something worth considering in light of rising competition, in light of rising ad costs, rising CAC, and declining conversion rates. So typical action box item is kill relying solely on manual A/B testing, etc. Tweak your existing chatbot systems if you have to, and double down on implementing and optimizing AI-powered site search, etc. Second problem, hyper personalization and zero party data. While the third party cookies are sort of they're still there. I'm not saying they're being removed, but Apple has made tracking virtually impossible. Facebook and Google and everyone else is kind of estimating what's going on. So there is no real data available for your assessment. So how do you deal with that? Well, collect as much zero party and first party data as you can. Quizzes, post purchase surveys, general surveys, assessments, any which way that you can get the customers to give some data directly to you. And then first party data that you collect by your email account, with your website, anything else that you can track, phone calls, customer service requests, anything and everything that you can collect from that customer as part of your first party data is going to be helpful in personalizing their experience in terms of recommending emails, in terms of recommending deals, in terms of recommending products. So that's the second pillar. The third, I'm not going to go into the details yet. You can obviously read in the report. But the third pillar is the social slash live slash creator commerce. Uh, if you're a DTC brand looking to grow, you cannot say no, or you cannot ignore social commerce. You cannot ignore live shopping. You cannot ignore creator-led commerce. So while a lot of creators are becoming brands themselves, they have an upper edge because brand loyalty is only as much relevant as your visibility in the eyes of the prospects or customers. So in integrating influencers and creators consistently in your ecosystem is something that you cannot ignore in 2025. Fourth pillar on this is composable and headless infrastructure. This helps faster deployment of new features, faster deployment of user interface, user experience, and a more robust technical infrastructure. So typically these principles are becoming widespread. People see that almost 87% of organizations, at least in large structure, have implemented these technologies. So the relevance for smaller brands between $5 to $200 million, these offer advantages because you can innovate, you can scale much faster, launching new features, experiences, something as basic as an AR or and that is one of the pillars, by the way. An AR powered system will be easier when you have a headless technology system enabled for your business. Payments and embedded finance. This includes typically by BNPL options. So BNPL is showing strong growth trajectory. It is growing at 12.2% year on year, and it is expected to grow. I mean, they say this is projected to digital wallets typically are projected to account for about 52% of global e-commerce transaction value this year. So it's highly relevant, boosting checkout conversion rates by around 17% by using BNPL. So if you have only one option, increase that to two, three. If you have no option, obviously include BNPL as part of your conversion checkout process. Sustainable and circular models. A lot of brands are now considering creating marketplaces for their own products for used slash pre-loved category. So if you have let's say you're an apparel store and you want to create a ecosystem, set up a Facebook group, get people to trade, transact, exchange, so that there is sustainability built into your brand promise with your prospects and customers. Logistics and fulfillment innovation, again, just in time ordering. But if that's not possible because of the China relationship, then at least have it in a way where your projections, where your predictions, your inventory forecast is done with the help of artificial intelligence. So it looks at the data from the last few years, and then it looks at the general market trends, it looks at macro and micro trends, and then makes predictions accordingly and based on the user makeup, user behavior, user demographic makeup in your ecosystem. So the last but not the least is voice, AR, metaverse, and commerce. Now, it hasn't picked up as much as people would have hoped, but still, it is important to have this integrated into your business. So while this report is available for download, let me know in the message, and I'll send you the link to download the report. But I wanted to segue from here into how this changes marketing. So if you look at our website, we talk about this in a big way that marketing agencies or marketing as a function is being rebuilt entirely. 90% of the work that we know marketing does is going to be replaced with AI within the next 1 year. It's already been 50 to 60% work has already been replaced. Content, creative, even videos to some extent, advertising, testing, a lot of that has been outsourced to AI. But over the next year or so, we are going to see 90% of marketing functions completely obliterated and be replaced by AI. Now we are creating a flowchart, and I'll show you briefly that flowchart on what it would look like. So let's take a look at it here. There we go. Oops. That way. Now, if you take a look at this here, this is your typical paid media team structure. You start with the strategist, which is part of your agency or part of your in-house team. And then they're supported by three people. One, a media buyer, specifically for media such as Google or Facebook, but then supported by production assistant, which is an AI agent, and an ad accounts operations executive, which is again an AI agent. Now they have their own individual functions. The production assistant would have agents or tools doing image ads, creative copywriting, and ad angles idea generation. And then video ads production and edit, because we don't rely on video AI as much at this point in time, we still believe there is a human element involved, but not for long, probably another 6 months to a year. On the media buyer side of things, data and report extraction, hardcore AI, intelligent analytics, hardcore AI. So the media buyer looks at the data and makes decisions, but will be training an AI tool or an AI agent to replace them over the next 1 year. So we see all three of these roles being taken care of by AI. Video, if moves to AI, then you just need one resource who understands marketing in your entire paid media ecosystem team. Now imagine spending thousands of dollars at the rate of 5, 10, 15% of media ad spend. You have to do nothing of the sort because a media agent or an actual AI agent team will help manage your entire Facebook ad account. So that's kind of the shift that's happening in the context of marketing. Platforms, obviously, people don't understand the changes, the data, the analytics, the technology. None of this is kind of logical. So people want to basically, get confused. AI does not get confused. AI does not get tired. So AI agents will take it over. Budget management, targeting the right budget into the right place based on the behavior, moving budgets from Google to Facebook to TikTok to Snapchat to Pinterest. That would be AI just making those decisions very fast. And of course, AI is in itself accelerating the pace of creative testing, for example. So if your competition's testing 150 new ads every day, how can you be left behind? You're going to have to take care of that part. So that's what we mean when we say marketing with AI is changing the transformation. So if you work with us, we would basically look at your entire ecosystem, identify the opportunities for agents, build a data unification system so that the agents can be fed the data, and then build your owned audience for your brand perception. Now, and that's why this gets a unique link on our website. On your website, on your brand, on your product, on your system, you cannot ignore the need to own your audience, because first party data, zero party data is going to be critical. And the only way to do that is if you do not rent or buy from Facebook consistently for growth. You are going to have to build the relationship directly. So when we build this approach, when we build this system, we make sure that audience development is an integral part of it. So that's where you go. Own your audience, do not just buy the attention. So when you do this, you're able to do a lot of ongoing retention, loyalty, etc. kind of activities. So if you look at this, you'll see exactly how this works. But that's kind of our strategy here, as to make recommendations and help you develop an AI ecosystem to not only optimize the functional part of your marketing, but also the brand perception, the brand integration, and the brand loyalty side of things. So that's kind of how marketing is changing, and that's what our sort of 2 cent pitch to you would be, that if you're not considering AI plus a community plus owning your audience, then you are going to be left behind. And therefore, the time to act is now.